Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a walkthrough of my plant room and just seeing how my collection up here is doing just as a general whole. The last time I did one of these was about 5 months ago, so it was near to the tail end of spring. So now we're coming up to the end of summer. Summer typically is not the best time of growing for me for my plants. So as everybody knows, the vast majority of plants that I have up here are anthurium. And like in my house, it's a little too warm, I think, for the best growth for anthurium. Even though the humidity is up, I think the heat up here does stress them a little bit. Plus it makes them dry out faster. And I just haven't really been very good at keeping on top of watering. So not all plants suffered in the summer because of it. Some are looking good, some are looking just fine, but a lot of plants you're going to see some leaves that have crisping on the edges. Some of them have like wonky leaves because I've been so busy that maybe I didn't see that leaf in time, so it was expanding into a physical object. And what you're about to see is a collection that I think is a result of a lot of distraction, not necessarily burnout, but I think the result can kind of be very similar. And if you're also going through the same thing, or if you've had a really busy summer, you might be also going through the same thing. So I just hope that this can make you feel better as well. And just as a little bit of a background on my overarching goals for my collection, it still is to pare it down to a manageable amount. So the amount of plants that I used to be able to keep and stay on top of, and that was like my threshold, I think used to be a lot higher than it currently is now. And the reason for that is that ever since just under a year ago, maybe like 10 months ago, a lot of stuff has happened in my life that has, I think, really rewired my brain chemistry. So it was 3 back-to-back losses of loved ones. And in the last few months, I've been really feeling like I'm in a period of growth, and I have this really strong sense of curiosity for other things, just new things that I just don't know anything about. I'm just trying to absorb information. I don't know why, I just feel very hungry. And what that means for my plant collection is that they are getting regular care. They're not getting completely neglected, but it's not as frequent as I think they would like. So that means that my collection needs to be a lot smaller. So if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that I've been regularly paring things down, doing restock sales and stuff like that, but I'm also producing plants and like breeding things. So what I've been trying to do is like pare things down slowly. I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive now, and also like doing a little bit of a pause on the breeding, and I'm definitely not buying new plants if possible. I'm just trying to be as mindful as possible of what comes into this house. So what you're gonna see today is me kind of in the process of figuring things out and getting my bearings. I don't have a set number of like plants in mind. I have a very strong emotional attachment to my plants, so it's not easy. So I'm just kind of like in the process of getting my bearings, and I don't have a set number in mind of how many plants I want in my collection. I just know I'm not there yet. I think I'm chasing a feeling of contentment. Someone's at my door. A feeling of control over the size of my collection that I don't feel right now. I used to feel it, so I know what it feels like. I just don't feel it right now. Also, if you're like me and you're like logging into Facebook on like an almost daily basis, seeing these like exiting the hobby purge, I'm leaving the hobby, selling all my plants, and like you're just seeing this like a big influx of people just leaving the hobby. Like I think less than people entering the hobby. But anyway, if you're seeing this and you're like, oh, she's one of those people that are leaving the plant hobby, that is not the case. Like plants are so important to me, but I also am coming to the realization that more plants doesn't mean more love of plants. If anything, if I have the number of plants that best suits my lifestyle and like the time that I have, that means I have more capacity to love those plants and they're gonna do better. So that's my goal. That's my thought process around it. And I just wanted to add this because I think it does explain why my collection looks the way it does, but it's not necessarily burnout. I'm just like so into so many things right now. So this is not really a plant tour, though it's kind of like plant tour. It's not really growth updates, though you'll get a little bit of both. It's just not as in-depth as I normally would go in either of those dedicated videos. And also, I'm probably not going to talk about every single plant. So we're going to start with my grow tent, and then we're going to move into this ambient shelf, and then I'm going to end up at the IKEA Boaxel shelf, which honestly, one of the best things I've done this year. I love it so much. Actually, before we begin, there's 3 bins right now of plants on the floor that I'm going to move out of the room, so you're not going to see it later. I do want to touch on this because me, G, and Charmaine just did a restock on planthappens.com of these plants. The restock would have gone live on Thursday, September 4th. So at this point in time, there probably is still some stuff left over. And the deadline for ordering is September 10th. And we're going to be shipping out September 15th. And that's going to be right before I go on a holiday. So by the time this video goes live, there still will be time to order if there's stuff left. I'm pretty sure there will be stuff left. I decided last minute to list this beautiful thing. This is from Pau and Josh. So they sent us seedlings of this pap Peace, which is from their friend James Peace. They just named that pap after him, crossed with Pap Voldemort. And it looks very Voldemort, like it looks very bumpy. The ears are really tall. Josh actually sent an extra last time, so this one is an extra one. I still have one. It's living in my Mills bow. Both of them are doing super well, and they're both quite bumpy. The other one has like maybe angrier ears, but this one's bumpier. I hope this goes to a good home. Also, this one I decided to list, Red Crystal Port by King of Spades. In this box is related to the announcement. So I have in here some select Carla bee veps that will be going down to the States. I chose 4 very different looking ones. This one's quite black, veiny. This one's really huge actually. And this one is more minimally veined, and this one with a really cute red sinus. Actually, there's 5. There's this one as well. I'm also going to be potting up some seedlings that are still in communal cell trays. I'm sending them to Pau and Josh because they asked if I would send them some plants for them to sell for their 4K followers live on Palm Street. So the date of that is not set yet, but I'm going to be sending this down to them when we do our shipping for the restock. And so just keep an eye on their account. And they're also going to get plants in from NXT Plants. They're getting stuff in from Grant. So follow them on Palm Street, follow them on Instagram just to make sure that you're just up to date. And because even if you're not going to buy anything from that live, it's going to be a fun one because there's going to be a lot of variety. This is another box of Carla bee veps that is going to be for the Plant Happens restock. This is going to be like my last round of the best that I have to offer. The rest are going to be keepers, so maybe I'll let go of a keeper, which will be a nice one. And everything else I have is in a tray that is underwatered, or they're kind of runty, you know, not doing that great. So like this will be the kind of the last hurrah. I also forgot to mention this King of Spades, which is a propagation I took last year of this one up here. You're going to see it later. This was meant to be for trade last year, which didn't end up working out, which I'm kind of glad it didn't work out. But I was asking Pau and Josh what is the market value of KOS right now, because there are so many King of Spades for sale, but the pricing is all over the place and I got really confused. They've always been so helpful whenever I had questions like that. So I asked them and they were basically like, yoink. So this is going to, I believe, Josh. I always see them as having a joint collection, but they really do have 2 distinct collections. So I think Josh is going to be buying this. I'm going to be sending this to him. So don't be surprised if you see this in his collection soon. Hopefully it makes it there in one piece. So my tent is not like insanely full, but it is getting quite full and I'm getting to the point where I need to do another cleanup. One thing I want to do is do probably like a spinosad drench on everything. Maybe not a soil drench, maybe just like spray drench all the foliage in the dark, like at night. Maybe space it out every 3 days or so over the course of like 3 or 4 treatments, because there have been a few brushes with pests in this tent this year. Because I'm not really using pesticides in here all that often, I'm kind of like relying on it being a closed tent and it's kind of quarantined. There's been 1 or 2 bouts of thrips. So this damage, this one's on one of my Carlas, my Phil Carla. There's also thrips damage on my Fortune and Ralph Linum. This is like old stuff, so I have sprayed with spinosad since then, but I don't think I'm as on top of things. And the main thing I'm worried about is this, which I thought was fungal because of this like rusty kind of behavior and where it kind of attacks old leaves rather than new leaves. But then lately I've been hearing about a mite, some sort of mite, some mystery mite that like there's not very much information, just like vague general little anecdotes floating around that they are mites, but not flat mites and they're not spider mites. So my thought is maybe I need to work on, maybe not spinosad actually, maybe I'll do Safer's Endol and just drench everything in this tent. I won't be able to report back on my findings for that for a while because like I said, this kind of damage tends to show up on not every single plant and only on leaves that after they fully harden. So it's not as easy to detect as thrips or flat mites because those will attack fresh leaves. So this is my main problem with my tent. And honestly, I just need to do it. I keep forgetting at night and in the day I don't feel like turning off the lights. This top level is looking fairly good for the most part. My Carla BVEP from Pau and Josh, this is not my original one. This leaf grew into the side of the tent. So it's a little bit wavy, but honestly, I love the veins on this one. It's so spidery. I wasn't expecting this leaf to get so big because I did miss a watering on it, but it has expanded pretty well. It's kind of even like a little holographic. Usually this plant has super like dark plummy purple emergent leaves, but I do think that's mainly like a winter thing or like a cold weather thing. So in the summer, just the emergent leaf colors aren't as nice. My original Carla B Vep, so this one's a GPH by Round. It's still quite small. It's not the best grower for me, but I also love the veins on this one. So just to see them side by side, this plant is quite a lot older than this one, but this one has outpaced it by quite a bit. My Ace Eastern dress put out another leaf. It's really pretty, but I do need to move it into somewhere more shaded. Previously, leaves were kind of like back there. Look at that one. It's looking so nice, but this leaf kind of grew out into the open. It's a lot closer to the light now. So I need to just like shuffle things around and move this somewhere where there's less light exposure. This you've seen very recently. This is Port Carla from Homebody. My BVEP by DF from Annex Plants. So nice. I just love how wavy it is and how much it looks like DF. This is my Fortune Ralph Lineham Dress Carla. Give you a little bit of a close-up on the sinus and the blister variegation. It produces first batch of berries, which honestly have been germinating, growing really well. This has proven to be a pretty strong mother plant, and also it needs to be in a bigger pot. So once like I repot it into a bigger pot, I do think it's going to be pushing out or holding on to leaves for longer. By the way, I'm going to be sending, I think, 3 F2s from this seed batch to Pau and Josh. This thing is not doing well. Really, really, really needs a repot. This one is my hybrid. This one is PAP RE5 by Fortune Ralph Lineham, and it was doing so well. It's such a good one, but it also got a little bit of thrips, and I think it's thrips free now, but it really desperately wants a repot. My pride and joy, the Carla Black Widow Michelle, is look how black that looks. It is still really slow. It has not put out a leaf. It's working on one, but it's really just moving at a glacial pace, but it's so pretty. This is probably the blackest plant. This and the Carla Lux are the blackest plants I have. This is definitely blacker in a more intense way because it's velvety. The Carla Lux is like this oily black, but this one is, oh, it's so good. And I love the veins on it. I just can't wait for another leaf. And it's one of those plants that I kind of baby, but there's not much I can do because it's not growing. So it's not really putting out leaves, but I'm trying to check on it all the time. This plant is turning out quite cute. This is Carla Cuna by Stripey X2 from Paul. It's a very gray blue tone, but it has very spidery veins and it's really, really thin. My Carla 1x16 is doing quite well. Like, this leaf got a little bit dinged, but it's sizing up. The veins are still really bold, but minimal, like really thick, but minimal. This thing has grown so much faster for me since moving it to Trevern Pond. Ooh, my Ace Carla. So this one's Ace of Spades by Carla GPH. I don't know if I'll show you this leaf again while it's still fresh and floppy. So here it is. The veins are very pink. Down here, the Fortune Ralph Lino I just showed you earlier, but just to give you a close up on that new leaf. The growth rate on this one's finally starting to pick up, but this was one of my favorite paps. It's so pointy. There's been a little oopsie with the Carla Wu itself. I did let it dry out, hence the crispy edges. This is the contaminated Carla, and you can see right now, I just watered it a few days ago, but it was so thirsty that it's used up all the water already and already needs another water, but it's super curled back. This is not normally how she looks. Down here, there's some good things, some bad things. Overall, it's okay. Spider Ralph Man put out this leaf last, I think. No, this leaf last. I don't know why. Halfway through hardening, this happened, whereas the older leaf kind of stayed good. My BVEP from Paul is still proving that I suck at growing BVEP. They are really difficult for me. This is a plant that I try to keep kind of wet all the time. This and Dresslerai and Midnight Velvet. And I let it dry out once this summer and it rewarded me with all this yellow. So that's kind of like my story with this BVEP. It's so pretty. The color, it's such a like aubergine black. This pap, I don't know what the heck is wrong with it. It cannot hold on to leaves. This one is PAP RL Self, or Ralph Item Self by Voldemort. There is some disease plaguing this thing. I've repotted it into fresh substrate. I've inoculated a bunch of times. It will put out a leaf and then immediately start to do this like weird yellowing all over. And for some reason, I was able to hold on to the oldest leaves way better. Like all these leaves in between grew out and then crystallized, grew out and then basically melted. I don't know what is wrong with it. Maybe I need to do some sort of like systemic fungicide or something. I don't really know. This is Red Crystal Dreamweaver by Necromancer. Not really sizing up for me, and also the color is not what I know it to be. I've seen the mother plant. It is definitely more bold and more red than this, and just like what you would expect from Dreamweaver Necromancer. It's just not getting there with me right now. It is really slow. I don't know how fast of a grower the mother plant is, to be honest. I just know that it's magnificent and it's everything I wanted in a red crystallinum. So hopefully once the weather cools down, maybe it'll start to be more purple, and we'll see how this leaf expands. The windy Dressleri is doing okay. All things considered, I was really scared of this plant, but it's been okay. Like it's been growing. It's grown 2 leaves in my care. It doesn't look like it's working on anything right now, so nothing will be coming in the near future, but at least it's staying alive. And I'm just gonna double check the weight of, yeah, that's super heavy. That's all I can really do is shove it to the back of my tent and make sure it's kind of wet all the time. This is my one keeper of the Dark Phoenix King of Spades batch. This leaf kind of grew weird and wonky, and it just put out this one. This leaf is looking pretty spidery, so we'll see if that expands well. I'm just gonna double check. Could use a little bit of water. It's definitely not dry. Just wanna make sure it has enough water while it's putting out a new leaf. I really wanted to have this Diabloense in the restock, but no roots on the side of the pot yet. It will not pass the tug test, but it has put out a second root here. I think this growth point is dying off, but it remains to be seen whether something in here is going to pop out. Just right now, all I can see is the outside of the sheath of the caterpillar is looking pretty dead. I will have hope maybe in the next restock after this. This is my webby round Bessier Ave, the only Bessier Ave I have. It put out a new leaf. I separated it into 2, so I had a stump, I think, and I separated one half of it out. Sent it to my friend Justin. I kept this one. I'm keeping it in my tent. I don't think this plant will ever grow for me in ambient because I just suck at Bessier Ave. Hopefully I can get it to size up a little bit more so I can see what the mature form is like. But it's always been quite round with these stubby little lobes that point towards each other. And it's never really had that Bessier Ave holographic purple blue, but that remains to be seen, I guess. It's always been, this is basically the biggest I've ever had it. When I got it, it was about this size, and then it kind of grew a couple leaves and hated ambient, and then it kind of died back. So I've never really been past this point. My Carla Lux put out a new leaf, and it's just insanely beautiful. I'll show this to you in a growth updates video sometime in the future, I'm sure. This is the only Lux hybrid I think I need. It's so good. Where are you from? You're from... Oh, you're from this plant. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. Yeah. Anyway, that is my tent. This is by far the hottest place in the whole house. Like this plant room is on the 2nd floor, so obviously heat rises in the summer, plus there's all these grow lights, and then when the tent is closed, it is a sauna. It's almost like an oven in here. So all things considered, it's not doing too bad. I just need to get my act together, and I think I need to just break this tent down into like bite-sized manageable chunks and then just tackle it over the course of the next month. Now onto this shelf, which is admittedly kind of a mess. I'm still toying with the idea of extending the boaxle track system over to here. I think that would look pretty nice. I'm just getting a rough measurement. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit shorter than this. Honestly, I have so many ideas in my head that I need to just like tackle one at a time. I've been getting really overwhelmed with these home projects because I cannot decide which one is more urgent than the other. So this right now, I'm telling you, is a very low priority thing. There's other things I need to do first. So this shelf is lit by Gen 1 Soltech. This one is Gen 2 Soltech. Gen 1 Soltech is not dimmable, so it's kind of just like hanging straight. I could angle it honestly, but it might not reach as far down. And then this shelf has Barina bars on it, but anything that kind of juts out forward past the lights are getting Soltech light. This plant I haven't shown in a while. This is Carib Queen. So this is JV's Dressleri by Rugulosum. It did okay this summer actually. I'd cut it back to a stump because it got so crispy moving out of an exo into ambient that I didn't want to look at that crisp anymore. And it came back out with this leaf, which honestly, it didn't rip itself. I'm pretty impressed. I have heard that this is a plant that doesn't do well in ambient, so maybe it's a summertime thing. Maybe it's all gonna go downhill from here as we get into the colder months and the heating comes on, but I will take this as a small victory. This is one of my Dark Phoenix by King of Spades that's the most minimally veined. It's quite cute. It did get thrips. A lot of these plants here did get thrips at some point in the summer. I've done 2 back-to-back spinosad treatments this week. Maybe it wasn't in 1 week. Maybe it was like over the course of 10 days, I did like a big spray down of everything I could see at night when the lights were off. This plant in particular got the shower quarantine treatment. So it got, it got sentenced to a day in the shower with spinosad sitting on it. I did the test where you like spray it onto the larva and then you kind of come back and just test to see if those still squiggle, and they kind of all just like flake off. By the way, if anyone is interested, this is the brand of spinosad that I use, so take a screenshot. It honestly works so much better than Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew, even though it's both spinosad, but this one seems to be a little bit stronger. Can you believe there's a philodendron in here? This one is a philodendron Rio, which is like partly reverted, but there's still sections of it, or at least one section that's actively growing Rio leaves. And it can always be cut back, but this one I already have earmarked to be given to someone. This is my one keeper red crystal port by King of Spades. It's beautiful. I think I will repot it sometime soon. I've been holding off on it because I need to mix up a bunch more DIY pond to mix into my tree fern mix, and I've just really been putting off going to the backyard and rinsing all my components. This little King of Spades, this one was from Charmaine. This one she got at the same time I got my mother plant. So the mother plant that I got this little propagation off of, she just got frustrated with this plant that it never really grew well for her. And she later on got another King of Spades from Ardean Plant. So the same seller we got the original ones from back in 2021. So she said she liked that one better and she gave this one to me. This one has been not doing the best. So this leaf actually grew out of an axillary bud. So the apical point has died off. This would have been the caterpillar on it, but it's totally rotted. There's a growth point here and there's a growth point down there. So this could potentially turn into 2 plants in the future, but it's honestly so slow. While we're on King of Spades, I know it's the next shelf, but this is my original one. It got annihilated by thrips. It's so bad. I think I've already mentioned this before in a previous video, but it got so bad. I have done multiple inspections after the fact and I cannot see thrips. It's just this ugly damage, and I honestly should just stump it and turn it into like a leafless thing. It is a little bit sad. I've kept it because King of Spades grows so slow, maybe like 1, maybe 2 leaves a year. So I'm a little bit wistful about it. Let me know if I should just cut all the leaves off and just start over. I've been thinking about doing that with a lot of my plants that have old pest damage. I think I should just like clean it up and be a little bit sparse for a while, because fall, winter, I do see quite a lot of growth in anthurium. So it's not like it's going to be like a whole season of leaflessness. So maybe I will do that in the near future. If this caught your eye, this one is Ace of Perps by Pap. This is bred by Tyler. So Ace of Perps is his, it was a self-ling of the original Ace of Purple from Barry, and it looks quite a lot like the original Ace of Purple, so he called it Ace of Perps. The new leaves have been so dark. It's reading quite brown on camera, but it's a little bit purplier in person, and that's the fully hardened leaf. This one has been actually one of my favorites this summer. It's been doing really well. I had chopped it down to a stump, like a leafless stump, and it's come back with this and now this. And it's been doing surprisingly well in ambient. Like no tears. no rips. Not even much crisp. My Ace of Spades has gone through a bit of a journey this past year. This is not typical for this plant. So my Ace of Spades used to live here, when there was like the wire shelf and the exos, and it was doing really well and it's been flowering. So eventually I decided I'm just gonna sit on the floor. Eventually I decided that I'm going to pollinate it. So what did I pollinate it with my contaminated Carla from NSC. I was so excited for it, and it did take, but it just decided to abort it. And in the middle of like producing berries, it put out a leaf, and that leaf was like, it expanded to about this size. It never got to the velvety stage. So you know how when a anthurium leaf comes out, I'll show you this one as an example, it's kind of shiny and glossy. And then when it expands to a certain size, it starts to look velvety. So it was still in that glossy stage and it just stopped expanding and it looked so sad. I kind of attributed that like not expanding leaf to it also producing berries at the same time. So I left it alone. I did not repot it. I didn't do anything different. I just watered, fertilized as I normally do. And then later on I put out this leaf, which did properly expand, but it did rip itself, which is not super typical for this plant because this plant has historically for me done really well in ambient. It will expand leaves without ripping, but I will take this over a non-expanded leaf any day. Diabloense is still doing really well post repot. New roots are coming in all the time, and it just popped a new leaf, which has already ripped itself. Dang it. It's fine. This plant grows so fast. It's just that the stem grows at a glacial pace. So it's like all stacked up here. So I can't really cut it. That's the only thing. But the leaves come out really fast. There's so many leaves on this thing. Here's my little infirmary shelf. All the seedlings. These are a lot of seedlings from friends. Some of these are ready to come out. So this one is, I believe, a BVEP, right? Yeah, BVEP T1 by Tazula F4. This one was bred by Josh. This one, oh, this one is Justin's Carla. He sent me 2 seedlings. It's on its 4th leaf now. And the other one from Justin is this one. This one's quite a bit bigger. So this one's ready to come out. This is ready to come out. These are my seedlings. So this one is the inverse of the Carla BVEP. So this is Carla BVEP. So GPH by round by Carla Wu oneself. This yield was tiny. I think I only got what, six seedlings out of it. And it looks like only 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 viable plants. That looks dead. This looks like it's on its way out. So really I just have 4. And then over to the bow axle, let me just back up a little bit so you can see it as a whole. I have been enjoying it so much, not just for the functionality, for it being able to hold so many plants. It looks really clean. It makes the space feel a lot warmer. And I love these Soltech lights. They are right now dimmed to about 60% of the full strength. And I think it's actually kind of perfect because at full strength, this plant, this is Woohoo's First Night, got a little bit bleached, so this section of the leaf was getting the most light. This leaf up here, which is actually a little bit farther away from the light, was not getting bleached, so it is quite strong. My Wenlingeri, my second Wenlingeri, this one was from Woohoo. It put out its first inflow, and it didn't curl quite well, but usually like the first one doesn't curl really well, and the second, if it is a curly inflorescence Wenlingeri, the second one will come out a little bit more of a corkscrew. My Frigedia Carla, this one's the Frigeria by Carla Amanda, is doing well. It hasn't pushed out much growth this summer. This shelf is quite high, but it is, I can reach it with a watering can. This is my red crystallinum from Dania. This one was her Tazula red crystallinum self. It is so pink. This leaf is pretty much hardened off and is still so pink. I do need to repot it. I think you guys can probably take a shot every time I say I need to repot a plant and you will be wasted right now. It has kind of slowed down ever since it filled out the pot, so I need to get on that. The Queen Clary also from Dania. This is how the leaf is expanding. It's so pretty. I just love the shape on it. It's just a little bit wider, like a little bit more spread out than a regular Clarinervium, and obviously the venation just like a little bit more intense. The Mr. Worldwide that I got from Matt. Matt is Cataphil on Instagram, and he also sells on Anthurium Addicts. He's made some beautiful hybrids. I think he has a Carla by Carla. Those look like they're going to be really good ones, and he has really fair prices, and I'm very glad we did this trade. I don't even remember what exactly I sent him for this. I think it was basically just like here's a bunch of plants, and he sent me a bunch of plants, and there wasn't really much, you know, discussion. It was just like, send me what you got. The Mr. Worldwide is putting out its first inflow that's fully emerging. So in the past, it's put out 2 inflows, but they never emerged. So this is the first one where the spadix is actually coming out. What else? Minahasa is doing okay. It has dried out a couple times, and obviously it's flowering because it's a flowering machine, but I've let it dry out a few times because guess what? It needs a repot. The pot is too small. I need to put it in something bigger. This is the last leaf it put out, and then it dried out a bit. So yeah, I'm sorry, girl. And then this is my King of Spades Red Crystallinum from Dania. Here's how that leaf is progressing. I think, yeah, it feels like it's done expanding. So we're just in the hardening off phase now. And then this is my Mag Bicuna. This leaf got huge. And guess what? It needs a repot. This leaf was so much bigger than I expected it to be, so it kind of forced it to move out of the tent. And this is actually another plant that does like it kind of wet all the time, and that's one of the reasons why I need to repot it so that it doesn't dry out. My other King of Spades Red Crystal is also doing really well. This one I repotted maybe about a month ago into this big pot. It's currently pushing a leaf and an inflow. The latest leaf would have been this one. So it got a little bit dinged, but overall this is such a cute plant, and it's funny that they're the same hybrid but they look so different. So I really like this one because it's so King of Spades heavy. This one is so Red Crystal heavy. My Dark Phoenix is doing okay. The crisp, I honestly think it just wants to get out of no drainage. So it's currently in quite a large glass vessel. The roots look good. I don't believe I fully let it dry out this summer. It actually has been drinking pretty slowly in this spot. So what I'd like to do now that I have these really big pots, I have an even bigger one than this, I will be using that. I probably will put landscape fabric at the bottom so that I can use pond with it, and then repot this into there. Maybe just like try to keep as much pond as possible so I don't use too much new pond, but that way I can actually flush some water out when I water it. And then here's my plant that never does anything. Queen of Hearts, but at least it's not yellowing. One thing I have noticed is when I put it into this spot where it gets way less light than it used to, it's not doing that bright orange halo around the edge anymore. It's not really growing. This caterpillar's been like this for the longest time, so it's not really putting out growth, but at least it's not actively declining. And then down here, my EXO that I probably won't keep forever. I don't know what to do with this. This leaf took me by surprise. This is my Sulawesi, aka Jacqueline, but we just call it Sulawesi. Yeah, this leaf got so big and it's just like this. I honestly feel like as soon as I bring it out, it's going to get spider mites right away. I got this one as a corm from Dania. She shared a corm off her mother plant. This little thing is a green on green Frydek. I got it as a sprouted corm. Well, I mean, it was like a 1 or 2 leaf off of a corm. Little baby plant, and it was green on green, and I thought, is it a light thing or did it mutate into a green on green, because it was collected off of a white variegated Frydek. So then I put it into a very high light propagation dome. It stayed green on green. I moved it into here where there's less light, still green on green. It's never produced anything like even resembling white, not even cream yellow. It's always been very green on green. I don't know if anyone even would want this if I were to sell it. But I'd also be curious, like if this produces corms for me and I harvest the corms, will they give me green on green? Will be white, like regular white Frydek. But anyway, other than that, there's like some stumps in here. There's some seedlings that are too tall for bins, and I just need to reorganize. This is a BVEP because I am so good at growing BVEPs. Down here, a lot of stuff we would have seen pretty recently from my declutter video, so I'm not going to go into the bins so much. These are some of my seedlings that, I mean, are honestly no longer seedlings, but they're very cute, but they're quite big, so they're in a tall bin. A couple of my holdbacks from Carla BVEP. And then in here, I just want to give you a little update on the snake oil. This is top 3 of the plants I got this year for sure. This is the snake oil 2.0 from Connor and Chantel. I told Pao I wanted a minty one rather than a chunky, like kind of sectoral variegation one. I've showed this to you before on the camera, like kind of holding it up to the camera, but honestly in this kind of lighting, when I'm filming it with my phone, it's so much easier to see the contrasting color. Like it's getting darker. As it hardens off, the minty is getting a little bit more high contrast. It looks like static and the veins are coming out a little bit more. It is growing super fast. It's not rooting a lot. Like there's a couple of roots coming out the bottom, but you know, it hasn't really filled out the pot. So I think as far as this batch goes, there's definitely ones that are way bigger than this, but I got it as a sprout. Like it was maybe this leaf was the biggest leaf. It was like a 2 leaf, maybe 3 leaf, and then it's been sizing up, so I'm not complaining at all. I think this plant is just wonderful. There have been some from this batch that are insanely beautiful. I think Connor's held them back and they're just so pretty, like big chunks of different color variegation. The growth rate is really fast. It's honestly one of the fastest plants I have right now. So yeah, that's generally how my plants are doing after a very, I cannot believe it's the end of summer. Like kids are back to school and like I'm looking at the forecast and starting next week, starting to like thunderstorm. The temperatures are dropping pretty drastically. But yeah, going back to what I was saying at the beginning about this year being, I think, a year of growth for me. I'm in the discovery phase, I think, of a year of growth. I'm never planning to leave the houseplant hobby, but there's so many things that are so interesting to me right now that I'm just like, you know, kind of skimming the surface of, I just want to learn. I just want to learn. Maybe it's not a hobby, but I just want to absorb information. One of these things I've been really interested in, I've been sharing with you, which is like interiors, furniture, like home improvement stuff. But beyond that, I want to get back into drawing. I want to get back into oil painting. What else have I been into? Even though I still love my true crime, I've been getting more into academia podcasts. So some of you know I've been a very big fan of Suzanne Simard. And if you're not a fan of hers, but you love plants, or if you don't know her and you love plants, I highly recommend just like search Suzanne Simard in your wherever you get your podcast. So I use Spotify. So the one I listened to this morning was from the Emergence Magazine podcast. It's called Finding the Mother Tree, which is also the name of Suzanne Simard's her book. So if you're on Premium Spotify, her audiobook is available on Spotify. It's called Finding the Mother Tree, Discovering the Wisdom of the Forest. So basically, this is such a tangent, but she is like the mother, the mother of really the study of mycorrhizal fungi. She's a forest ecologist, but she's really the one that published and it started the conversation of how trees are talking to each other in the forest via these mycorrhizal networks. And she's local to me. Like she teaches at the University of British Columbia, where I studied. I did not study forestry, but I just found out like yesterday from my neighbor that she knows Suzanne Simard. So this was this whole thing. So I was like starting to listen to her stuff again. There's like so much stuff I can just like blab on about for no particular reason. Probably do that in a repop video if anyone's interested. But honestly, if nobody is really interested, I kind of like to just put it out in the world anyway. But as it pertains to my plants, I'm coming to the realization that the more I pare things down, the more freeing it is for me to kind of pursue other things without this weight of responsibility. And I can feel, like I said, in control of, you know, how things are going in my collection. So as I pursue other interests in my life, I want to feel good about my plants. So yeah, this, I hope, gives you a little bit of a snapshot of what my collection is like right now. I'm not proud of it. I'm not even necessarily trying to grow plants as big as possible because you know me, sometimes when plants get too big, it gives me the ick and I don't want it anymore. So I'm really just looking for happy plants. Happy plants, they don't need to be massive. I just want them to be happy and ideally pest-free. I will be uploading one more video after this and then I'm going to be on holidays for a little bit. I'm going to Taiwan. I'm not sure if I'm going to be filming. I would like to film, but it's very daunting to film while I'm traveling with other people. So at the very least, I'll bring some footage back with me and I'll see what I can stitch together for that. I'm very much looking forward to going back to Taiwan, eating the food, getting my Mandarin kind of back up to speed as well. Like when I'm surrounded by it, I get a lot stronger at speaking it. But yeah, I'm going to leave you now before I ramble on anymore. I'm in a very rambly mood, if you couldn't already tell. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!